بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to this talk called Things I Wish I Knew When I Was in University. I went to university, and so I have some experience about being a university student, and I wish to share some of the valuable lessons I've learned, and hopefully they will help you have a smoother journey in university, especially as believers, as Muslims, to navigate our university life so that we avoid the harms and we can maximize the benefit and we can harvest a meaningful experience. So there are 7 points in this talk, but everyone will be hopefully concise. I will not take a lot of your time. So the first point is, in university you have a lot of spare time and you can do a lot in your spare time, and the differences between people is a major result of how they use their free time. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu narrated on the Imam al-Bukhari narrated on the authority of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ni'matani maghbunun fihima kathirun min an-nas, as-sihhatu wal-faragh." There are two things which most people they squander. They don't take advantage of. They don't make good use of. These two things are health and free time. In university, unlike high school, you don't really have a rigid structure anymore. You don't have a daily schedule anymore. You have certain courses in a semester and you plan them according to your own selection. And so you may have maybe just 2 hours lecture every day or 4 hours, and you have a lot of free time. And so this is where difference is made. There's a beautiful sentence I learned from, there's a website called The School of Life. They said that we overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what we can do in a year. So sometimes when you make a daily plan, you put a lot of tasks that you want to accomplish, and then at the end of the day, you didn't accomplish maybe half of them, and you feel disappointed. And so that's because we overestimate what we can do in a day. But if you are consistent, and if you develop a habit, and if you have a goal, and you divide your long-term goals into short-term goals, and you have clear, measurable, checkpoints, then inshallah after 1 year you will see that you have actually achieved a lot. So we need to have a daily plan. And a Muslimah shouldn't ever ask himself or herself this question: what should I do now? This means you didn't plan ahead. This means you are in a state of confusion. You're in a state of heedlessness. Rather, a believer should always know what I'm supposed to do right now. And so, traditionally, people write a to-do list, and it's a pretty good habit. You can develop this habit as well. So, for example, tonight, you write a schedule for tomorrow, right? From, between Fajr and Dhuhr, what should I do? Between Dhuhr and Asr, what should I do? And by the way, you should plan your prayer time as, these pinpoints, and you plan your day around these prayer times, because the prayer is the anchor that holds your life together. So you have the 5 prayer times, and you should make a plan. What should I do between Fajr and Dhuhr tomorrow? What about Dhuhr and Asr? Have very clear, achievable goals, and so that you will never be in a state of what should I do right now. When you are in a state of what should I do right now, chances are you're already wasting a lot of time, and you have already wasted a lot of time. So some examples of what we can do with our spare time. I have a friend called Mustafa. He's Egyptian. I met him in Boston. He memorized the Quran during his university career, during his undergraduate degree. So 4 years, he memorized the entire Quran. And when I entered university, I didn't know how to say the Shahada. As I told you, I don't have any Islamic education in my family. So when I entered university, I told my Pakistani friends that I'm a Muslim. Oh, they say, "Oh, really? Let's pray Asr." And I was like, "Huh?" And they say, Salah. I was like, "Huh?" And they say, Namaz. I was like, "Huh?" And they say, "Prayer." And I was like, "Huh? And what are you talking about? I have no idea what is prayer or Salah or Namaz, or I don't know any of these things. What is Asr?" So I have no idea, but I have to learn how to say the Shahada from my Pakistani friend, who obviously gave me a side eye, right? Like, you don't even know how to say the Shahada and you claim to be a Muslim. But once I learned the importance of the deen, and once I by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, had this desire to learn, I learned the Arabic alphabet maybe in 1 month. And then I can read the ayat by myself without tajweed, of course, in the beginning, within 2 or 3 months. And by half a year, I have already memorized some short surah. And that's because you have a lot of time in university. So even if you have a late start, you can still catch up. And so this is true for religious learning. This is also true for other skills and other knowledge. So if you use your time wisely and properly, after 4 years, you will see a major change. Sheikh Amir Bahjat, he has a PhD in comparative fiqh. He's a great scholar of Hanbali fiqh. He teaches in Saudi Arabia. He mentioned a peer of his, which entered university 1 year later than him. And so he, as a senior, he asked this brother, he said, brother, okay, so now you entered the university, Medina University, which is a very prestigious Islamic institution. Okay, so what's your background? How much Quran have you memorized? And he said, 5 ajza, which is not a lot, right? Actually, in the department of Quran, if you want to enter the department of Quran, the entry requirement is you have to be a hafidul Quran. That's actually a minimum requirement. So he said 5 ajza. Okay, that's not very ideal. What about, have you memorized some mutun, ajrumiyya, Alfiyatul Ibn Malik? Have you memorized Mustalah al-Hadith, the Alfiya of al-Iraqi? No, nothing, zero. I haven't memorized anything. I have no understanding of Nahu or Sarf or Balagha. I have nothing. And so Shaykh Amir Bahjat said, I assumed that this brother will achieve nothing. Because he entered with, as a blank slate. But so he said, what's your advice for me? Shaykh Amir Bahjat said, okay, memorize the Quran. He memorized the Quran in 6 months. Because every day he goes to the masjid for Fajr, he stays there until Dhuhr. After Fajr, he stays there, memorizes the Quran until Dhuhr. Until school time. He goes to the university, attends the lectures, and then finishes the lectures and goes to the masjid again, stay until Isha. Every day. So he memorized the Quran in 6 months. Within 1 or 2 years, he memorized many mutun, An-Nazm al-Jali fi al-Fiqh al-Hanbali, etc. Thousands upon thousands of lines he memorized. And by the time he reached 3rd year in university or 4th year in university, he was a scholar in the truest sense of the word. He was being consulted by his seniors. He was being consulted by even teachers sometimes because of his dedication. And he said, by contrast, there are some students who enter the university as Hafidul Quran. They memorized the entire Quran. They have memorized Ajrumiyya. They have memorized maybe Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim. Sahihain, they memorized it. And by the time they graduate, they lost everything. Because these are the students who, when they enter university, they feel free now. Parents are not forcing me anymore. I don't have that pressure anymore. So, nuzha every day. Picnic. Trips. If you ask them, which is the most important book or the best concise summary of Hanbali fiqh, they don't know. But if you ask them which place has the best shakshuka, the breakfast, Arabic breakfast, oh, they know that restaurant in this district. And so these are the people who didn't use their time properly. And 4 years can make that difference. Some lost everything they learned, and some became a scholar, although they started as a blank slate. So you can decide how you want to be when you graduate by deciding what you will do with your time now. And your time will be less and less. It is recorded by Imam al-Bayhaqi in Shu'ab al-Iman on the authority of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس شبابك قبل هرمك وصحتك قبل سقمك وغناك قبل فقرك وفراغك قبل شغلك وحياتك قبل موتك. Take advantage of 5 things before 5 things. Seize these 5 things before 5 things. He's talking about your youth before your old age, and your health before your illness, and your richness before your poverty, and your free time before your busyness, and your life before your death. You will have less and less free time. That is how life is designed. When you're married, you have less time. When you have a kid, you have less time. Right? You have less and less time. So in university, you have a lot of time. Use them properly. Number 2, focus on meaningful experiences. So now you are curious. Okay, I know the importance of using my time, but use it to do what? What should I do with my time? In the first year of university, just like many university students, right, I felt that freedom, I felt that independence. Now I can do whatever I want. And that was in my jahiliyyah. This is in time of ignorance before Islam, before Deen came into the picture. So I was doing many things. I was in a choir, I was in a band, I went to perform in Vienna, I traveled to 10 different countries. And I joined a lot of activities. Whenever there's something fun to do, I did it. I went out with friends from different countries to watch movie until like 2 a.m. and we came back and we go to the shore, we go to the beach, stay until like 6 a.m. I did all of that. And now if you ask me, are these experiences meaningful? I will say no, definitively. It's a waste of time. I didn't get anything out of these experiences. You may get a temporary social media high. Yeah, you send it, you share it to the people, and you feel proud that I did these things. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you will feel cool for a few days, maximum for a few months. And then people will forget what you did and you will forget what you did because it's not meaningful experience. We as Muslims should focus on meaningful experiences that have lasting impact on our religiosity, on our life, on our hereafter. And so if you want a guideline, Surah Al-Asr is a very good guideline. And Surah Al-Asr, if we're going to break it down in simple terms, it mentions 4 things. Number 1 is al-ilm, knowledge. And knowledge is ma'rifatullahi wa ma'rifatu nabiyhi wa ma'rifatu din al-islam bil adilla. It is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to know His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and to know the religion of Islam with evidence. Okay, so now there's a lot of things to do in this regard. You can spend time on doing that. The second one is al-amalu bih, acting upon the knowledge. So now you know what Allah commands you to do. You know what the Prophet ﷺ encouraged you to do it. Now you can use time to do that. And the third one is ad-da'watu ilayh, calling people towards this knowledge and this action. Calling people towards Islam, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can take a lot of your time. And the fourth one is as-sabru ala al-adha fih, to be patient over the harm that will come because of your doing this. If you do da'wah, if you act upon Islam, if you have knowledge of the religion, you will be harmed. Be assured. People will harm you. Sometimes Muslims will harm you because you are a religious person. And that's sunnatullah, that's the tradition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He tests the believers to see if your faith is true or not. So these are the 4 things that we can use as a framework to decide what is a meaningful experience and what is not. Does it contribute to your knowledge of Islam and knowledge of Allah? Does it contribute to your amal salih, righteous deeds? Does it contribute to your da'wah? Does it contribute to your patience? And Imam al-Bukhari narrated on the authority of Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, actually it's a hadith Qudsi, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبَدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ. Among the actions that my servants can do in drawing near to me, there's nothing more beloved to me than what I have made obligatory upon him. So what is the most beloved deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The fara'id, the obligations. So the 5 daily prayers, zakah, right, hajj and umrah if you're able to, and siyam Ramadan, fasting of Ramadan. These obligations, birrul walidain, husnul khuluq. This, what Allah Azza wa Jalla commanded us to do, is the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you fulfill your obligations first. If you are missing your daily prayers and you are hosting like Islamic Awareness Week, or you're doing da'wah, you're handing out leaflets, it's counterproductive. You need to have your own foundation first. You have to set your fara'id, your obligations straight before you move on to the nawafil. وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says, and then they continue to draw near to me with nawafil, with voluntary acts of worship until I love him. So now you have a lot of things to do. First, establish the fara'id, and then learn the sunnah and learn from the sahaba and do all of these nawafil, voluntary acts of worship. And other than this, you can also read good books, right? Reading is very beneficial. And you can watch beneficial lectures. Because of the convenience of the internet, we can learn a lot online, to be honest. And this is not the opinion of some layman. This is the opinion of the scholars. I asked Sheikh Dr. Muhammad Salah. Some of you may know him. He has a regular program on Al-Huda TV. He's an Egyptian scholar of fiqh. He told me that if you are a sincere seeker of knowledge, if you truly want to learn, you can learn a lot online. And that is my experience as well. I learned Arabic pretty much on Bayina TV. In the very beginning, 4 months, I followed Arabic with Husna, the program by Noamali Khan, and I could recite the Quran. I could understand the basic Nahw and Sarf. I memorized the chart, right? أخبر يخبر إخبارا فهو مخبر أخبر يخبر إخبارا فهو مخبر الأمر منه أخبر والنهي عنه لا تخبر والظرف منه مخبر. It's just a lot of repetition. You repeat and you will know it if you do it online. These sciences of tools. We call them علوم الآلاء. The two sciences. You can learn them by yourself online. Watch beneficial lectures, educational videos, have a Quran study circle, a halaqah in university, organize activities and events that aim at introducing Islam to others, da'wah activities online. Because in university you meet people from all walks of life, and it's a golden opportunity for you to spread the message of Islam. When you go to work, perhaps you're confined to a particular sphere of society, but in university you meet all kinds of people. And if you deliver the message of Islam, they will carry that message to also different corners of the society. So in university, you can organize a lot of events to introduce Islam to others. It doesn't have to be particularly informative. It can be just a social event. We used to have a program in University of Hong Kong called Cup of Tea with a Muslim. So you just sit down, have a cup of tea, and let's have a conversation. Just know that Muslims are normal, regular, kind and friendly people. And that's very helpful too. And also, if you have professors in your university that have some kind of specialization related to Islam, invite them to give talks about Islam. We invited Dr. Liz Jackson, one of my supervisors for my master's degree actually, to give a talk about the influence of media in the negative portrayal of Islam. And she did a very good job, so you can do that too. And also, use your night time properly. In university, students have nightlife, which is by and large blameworthy. They do a lot of impermissible and blameworthy things during their night. We as believers, Muslims, brothers and sisters, use your night in worship, in ibadah. Use your night to have secret conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will see miracles. I promise you. Night prayer is really ajib, it's really amazing, astonishing. If you just experiment, try it. You need something, pray 2 rak'ah at night, particularly the 1/3, the last 1/3 of the night, before Fajr. Pray 2 rak'ah, make a dua and observe, and you will see miracles happening in your life. Number 3, the third point, embrace the possibility of rejection. There's a great TED talk that I strongly recommend you watch. It's called What I Learned from 100 Days of Rejection. Write it down. What I Learned from 100 Days of Rejection. It's a very good TED talk. So basically, a lot of times, before other people prevent us from doing something, we prevent ourselves. Because we perceive the possibility of failure. Oh, they will never agree. This is not going to work out. No, it's a stupid idea. We tell ourselves that it's not going to work out, so we don't even try, right? We are scared by the possibility of rejection, which blocked a lot of our path and a lot of our possibilities. So from this TED Talk, what I learned from 100 Days of Rejection, this guy is just like what I just described in the beginning. But he challenged himself. He said, I want to overcome this fear. What's the big deal if I get rejected? What's the big deal if people say no to me? So he started 100 days of ridiculous requests to people. Day 1, he goes to a stranger on the street, hey, can I borrow $100? And the guy's like, no. So he ran away. That's the normal reaction. But he improved. The second day, he went to do some other ridiculous request. For example, he goes to a donut shop and said, I want 5 donuts in the shape of the Olympics, ring, chained together. And to his surprise, the owner of the shop said, it took out a piece of paper and started drawing. Okay, do you want it like this? How do you want the chain and what flavor? Oh, okay, it's actually negotiable. And then gradually he learned that a lot of rejections are not rejections because of something wrong with you. It's just a lack of clarity in your request, a lack of discussion, a lot of negotiation. If you actually make yourself clear, and when people say no and you ask why, you start a conversation, a lot of things can be done, can be negotiated. Even in university, this is very important. You wrote an essay, and the professor gave you a C-, let's say, and you are disappointed. You're like, I'm a failure. I'm a disgrace to my family, right? Especially if you're from Asian or South Asian community. But actually, you should write an email to the professor and thank him for grading the paper. I want to thank you for taking out the time to read my paper and grade my paper. However, my estimation of the grade is slightly higher than this. So if you don't mind, I would like to book an appointment with you to discuss the grading and why you give me a C-. I would like to see whether there's some misunderstanding of my points, or perhaps how can I improve? Give me some advice to improve. I will promise you that at least once in a while, they will change the grade. Because the professor appreciates this kind of, confidence. And he appreciates your own, sense of ownership of your work. And if you actually discuss, if you explain your points, maybe he will make it a B minus or B plus even. Try it and don't just accept failure, negotiate, argue. And the same can be said about many things. In university, you learn to find opportunities for yourself. You don't wait for opportunities. You go and you ask for opportunities. Some simple examples. Once I bought a gift in Hong Kong. I want to give a friend who's leaving Hong Kong. And so it's a very busy street. It's a very busy shop. People are coming in and out. And I bought this gift. And I have a friend with me. I said, okay, I want to ask the owner to gift wrap it. And he said, I don't think they do that. So if it's up to him, he wouldn't even ask. Because I don't think they do that. I will prevent myself because I don't think it's going to work. I said, it doesn't harm to ask, right? So I actually asked the owner, I said, okay, this is a gift I want to give a friend. Can you gift wrap it? Make it very beautiful. Make it presentable. And she said, sure. So she spent 10 minutes wrapping it, made it very beautiful. And if I never asked, it would have never been done. So a lot of things can be argued, can be pursued. Embrace the possibility of rejection. The worst thing that can happen is they will say no. But if you never try, you will never know, right? Number 4, life is not one race. Sometimes we talk about winners in life and losers in life. Someone is a winner in life and someone is a loser in life. When we use these terms, it's as if life is like one single event. Everyone is doing the same thing in life. Everyone has the same standard of success, and that's not the case. Life is not one race, and there are many different forms of success. Of course, the ultimate success, as believers, we know there's a standard answer, right? فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. Whoever can be saved from hellfire and entered into paradise, he has succeeded. That is the ultimate success. And what is the life of this dunya except a deceptive enjoyment? However, before that ultimate success, which we all pursue, which we all should be conscious of, in this life, in terms of the worldly life, there are many different forms of success. Some people are successful in their profession, in their career, but they may not be successful in their family. Perhaps he's not married yet, or he's been divorced, or he doesn't have custody of his children. Some people are not very successful in their career. They have a normal job. Sometimes they struggle financially, but they have a happy family, a lot of kids, and very united family, very loving and very peaceful family. That's a kind of success too. That's the kind of success that people want. Some people have a happy family and a great career, but they are not healthy because they didn't take out the time to exercise or do sports. But some other people, you see them, they're always active, always healthy. 50 years old, still going on hikes, still cycling. That's a kind of success too. And even just the ability to truly enjoy something. Just go to a lake and sit there and enjoy the nature. That's a kind of success too, because a lot of people don't have that. They have lost the ability to enjoy. So life is not one race. Don't compare yourself to the best of what other people are doing, but find out what you are good at. قُلْ كُلٌّ يَعْمَلُ عَلَى شَاكِلَتِهِ. Allah said, say everyone should work upon his shakila, his nature. The way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created him, his characteristic, her characteristic. Find out what you're good at and pursue success in your own track, in your own event. Create your own story, write your own story. Everyone has a different life. Don't try to be a copy, don't try to be a replica of other people. Be the best form of yourself. And number 5, I took Intro to Psychology in my undergraduate studies, although I did my bachelor's degree in engineering, civil engineering. So you're like, why did you take psychology then? So I took Intro to Psychology as an elective. And in the last lecture, I remember vividly, the professor said, so much discussion is going around about how to feel good. Psychology has become the science of how to feel good. And all of these technologies are also trying to make people feel good, right? You open the newspaper that you receive in your mailbox from Canadian Tire, all of the products are to make you feel good. Convenience, comfort, enjoyment. But my professor said, why do we care so much about feeling good, but we don't care as much about doing good? As believers, we should also remember, whatever good you feel is temporary, right? Sheikh Ali Hamouda gave an interesting example. He said, imagine someone had a very lavish meal, dinner today. went to the most expensive restaurant in Ottawa, had everything he wanted, right? Best food. Another person imagined that he went to that best restaurant and had the best food. When tomorrow comes, these two people have no difference whatsoever. It has become some electric signal in their brain. It's just a memory, right? And whatever you have digested, it will go out and you know where. And so the enjoyment that we have is truly temporary. It doesn't really impact your life. However, if you do good, it will stay forever. So مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدُ وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَقْ. Whatever is with you shall perish, and whatever is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will stay forever. So we shouldn't focus so much on how do I feel good, or I'm not feeling good these days. I'm depressed, I'm sad. It's fine, you have mental health struggles and you should treat them, but also it's not a big deal to be feeling bad sometimes. Life is hard and you should feel bad sometimes. So one of the rules of success, as summarized by an author called 100 Principles of Success, and he said the epitome is this one. The top one is do what you should do when you should do it, whether you like it or not. That's the key to success. Do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Let's say prayer. It's Isha. I'm tired. I want to sleep. Doesn't matter. You have to pray. So you pray when you should pray, whether you like it or not. And that way you will approach success. Mike Tyson was asked, why do you go out and run at 4 a.m.? It's in darkness of night. His answer is very interesting. He said, because I know no one else is doing it at that time. So I have an advantage. I have an edge, right, over other people. He doesn't, and Mike Tyson also said he doesn't enjoy training. Training is painful. Building up muscles is painful, but it's worth it because he's doing good instead of feeling good. Eventually he will achieve what he wants to achieve, and he became what he became. So the same applies to our religious pursuits as well. You look at people who have memorized the Quran, and you have this good jealousy of them. MashaAllah, they recite the Quran so beautifully and they can quote the Quran so easily, but they went through a lot of pain. They have to sit there every day, 1 hour, 2 hours, memorizing, revising over and over again, avoiding gatherings, rejecting invitations, putting down their phones and just going over and over again, the Quran and the Quran and Quran. And that's how they arrived at where they arrived at. And so do good. You don't necessarily have to feel good. Even if you don't feel good, do good and you will achieve something in the end. And eventually you will feel good as well. Ultimately, we want to feel good in the akhirah. Because there's a hadith which is very beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ said, a person from the most luxurious people in dunya. He enjoyed everything in this dunya. And Allah will dip him into hellfire. The way you dip French fries into ketchup. Allah will dip him into hellfire just like 1 second. And he will ask this person, did you enjoy anything in the dunya? And he will say, La wallah, I swear by Allah, I didn't enjoy anything. He forgot all the enjoyments because of 1 moment in hellfire. On the contrary, a person from the most unfortunate people in dunya, poor and suffering, went through all kinds of trials and tribulations, Allah dips him into Jannah for 1 moment and asks him, have you gone through any sufferings in the dunya? And he was saying, La wallah, no, I don't remember any pain or suffering. What are you talking about? 1 moment of Jannah made him forget everything that he suffered from in the dunya. So do good, you don't have to feel good. Number 6, protect your fortress. This world that we're living in has a lot of dangers. And sometimes we forget that. We forget that there are shayateen, and they are real. And their only job is to try to misguide you, and try to destroy you, and try to, drag you down with him to hellfire. There are a lot of enemies, min al-jinnati wan-nas, not only from the jinn, but also from people. There are enemies. There are evil people. There are people who are destined for hellfire, and they will act in that way as well. They will earn hellfire for themselves. There are people who are spending their efforts in trying to harm you. So how do we protect ourselves? In university also, you're not unfamiliar because it's very obvious in Canada. There are certain ideologies being pushed in academia. And so if you don't study certain subjects, if you don't mention certain ideas, if you don't support certain movements, you might be barred from even entering the field of academia. There's a lot of hidden rules that they don't talk about under the guise of liberty. There's a lot of lack of freedom. There's a lot of imposition of other people as well. And so how do you protect yourself? How do we protect ourselves as believers from various kinds of harm, and make sure we can safely transit from this temporary life to the next life, and to have a better life in the hereafter? There's a hadith in Al-Bukhari. The first time I read it, I was shocked, on the authority of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "يوشك أن يكون خير مال المسلم غنم يتبع بها شعف الجبال ومواقع القطر يفر بدينه من الفتن." He said, there will soon come a time when the best possession that a Muslim can have is a flock of sheep, because he can take the sheep to the mountaintops or to the valleys to flee from fitan, flee from trials and tribulations with his religion. Yani, there will come a time when it is so hard to hold on to your religion, the only option is for you to leave people altogether, to be by yourself, to isolate yourself. Although the scholars of hadith, they commentate that this hadith is primarily talking about the end of time, akhiru zaman. Yani, it's talking about Dajjal and Yajuj and Majuj, these kind of major signs. But when we approach the end of time, you will feel this. And I think sometimes you feel this, right? You feel like ghuraba, strangers. You feel pressured when you believe in God, and when you hold on to morality, and when you say there are only two genders. You're being attacked now. So we have to protect ourselves by holding on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by a lot of dua and dhikr. And that is why the compilation of dua and dhikr is called Hisnul Muslim, the fortress of the Muslim. And everyone should be familiar with this book. It's now available also on some apps. You can download them from App Store. And there's dua for different occasions. When you enter the home, when you leave the home, when you go to the bathroom, when you leave the bathroom, when you enter the masjid, when you leave the masjid, when you wake up, when you go to sleep. Remember all of this dua and dhikr, because they truly protect you. And you truly need protection. We are very vulnerable, and there are a lot of harm around us. And more dangerously, you don't even see the harm around you. A lot of these harms come from the unseen. So we need also protection from the unseen. We need to be, in connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine protection, and also protect your heart. There's a beautiful metaphor that I read. Think of your existence, or think of your life as a house. And so the windows and the doors of the house are your senses, your eyes and your ears and your touch. If you don't close the windows, if you let the windows open, when a hurricane comes, when a typhoon comes, when a natural disaster comes, your home is in danger. But if you close the windows very well, right? If you seal the windows, and if you prevent all the harmful elements from coming in, your house is safe as well. So in order to protect our heart, we have to protect our eyes, protect our ears, pay attention to what we listen to and what we look at. Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, eyesight, nadhar, is the arrows of shaitan. That he can use your eyesight to shoot into your heart, to distract you, and to put images in your mind that will prevent you from khairat, from goodness. And so ghaddul basar, the lowering of gaze, is not only about the good character when dealing with the opposite gender. It's about lowering your gaze from anything that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't look at it. It's about limiting your attention to what benefits you. Because there is a connection between your eyes and your brain and your heart. It's all connected. If you're looking at everything without discretion, and you wonder why I have low iman, why I don't feel tawakkul, why I don't feel the joy of prayer, why am I not crying, you know exactly why. Who are we fooling? You know what you're looking at, you know what you're listening to, and what's the surprise? So if you want to protect your heart, protect your senses as well. Protect your whole lifestyle and be determined in refusing those things that will harm this inner peace, this inner tranquility. This is especially important for university students, because you have a lot of temptations around you. People will call you to do all kinds of things. Be brave enough to say, no, I'm a Muslim, I don't do that. Okay, be brave enough to say that. Number 7, and the last point, is to be okay with imperfection. To live in this imperfect world imperfectly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create this world for perfection. This world is imperfect in the sense that there will be disappointments, there will be regrets, there will be failures, there will be mistakes, you will sin, and that's the nature that we're upon. And so you shouldn't expect perfection in this world. Perfection only exists in Jannah, right? You will not be perfect, people around you are not going to be perfect. Your university is not perfect. Your professor is not perfect. Your laptop is not perfect. Your house is not perfect. Your parents are not perfect, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that. The sooner you accept the reality of imperfection in the world, the sooner you will have this peace and this comfort in your heart. Otherwise, you will always be bothered. You will constantly be bothered. And so an example is when I was writing my master's dissertation. I think this happens very commonly to research students. It's a long paper. It's going to be more than 15,000 words or 20,000 words. So as I write my literature review, and as I improve my understanding of this issue at hand, this research topic, I realized a lot of things I wrote before is garbage, is wrong, or let's say not the best way presented. So I want to change it. The more I write, the more I want to change. To a point I was like, I want to start all over again. And so a friend of mine called Rustam Azimov, and he's from Kazakhstan. He said, brother, it's better done than perfect. Memorize this sentence. It's better done than perfect. Finish it first. It's not going to be perfect. Even if you start over 100 times, it's still not going to be perfect because you are not perfect. And we have limited knowledge and we have limited time and energy. It will never be perfect. Accept that. It's better done than perfect. Finish it, accept imperfection. Don't be paranoid about the small defects that will always be there. So I took his advice. I finished the dissertation, and one professor gave me an A, and the university policy is if you get an A, it has to be graded again by another professor to avoid bias. And another professor gave me an A, so I got an A of this paper, which I deemed imperfect in the beginning. So you see, imperfection is normal, and they expect that too. And they have a certain level of tolerance towards your imperfection, but don't let your imperfection prevent you from doing things altogether. Another example, I was doing exchange semester in Tufts University in Boston. And once I was late to my lecture for like 40 minutes. The lecture is 1.5 hours. So I missed half of it. I entered the second half. And the professor was mocking me. He's like, you made it, And then a friend, not a friend, just a classmate, he said something interesting. He said, it's better late than never. And he came, right? It's better than not coming at all. Memorize this sentence. It's better late than never. You may think, okay, I'm already like 25, 26, or I'm 30, 40, 50. I haven't memorized the Quran yet. Hey, it's better late than never. Start now. Otherwise, you'll be complaining again in 10 years' time. Start now. They say the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Right? It's a beautiful sentence. So, Thomas Sowell, which is really a great economist, and I really like him. I recommend his book, Basic Economics. You can learn a lot about economic life. He said, this vision that a lot of academics have, a lot of university people have, is wrong. The vision of problems and solutions. And this is also how politicians try to frame the world to you. They say that there are certain problems in the world, and we have certain solutions. And if you just give the proper solution to the problem, it will be solved. This is a wrong vision. This is not reality. Thomas Sowell said, in life, we don't have problems and solutions. We have trade-offs. We have trade-offs. You make something better, at the same time, you will make something worse. Sometimes you make one thing better, you will make several things worse. And so it's a matter of weighing the pros and cons. It's a matter of, just trade-offs. And so you have to see the world in this way as well. You're not going to be good at everything, and you have limited time. If you do one thing properly, you will not have enough time to perfect something else. You have to choose your priorities, and you have to be okay with imperfection. So stumbling forward is better than staying still. So when you start a project, and a lot of entrepreneurs talk about this too. Mark Zuckerberg, he said, when he started Facebook, he had no idea what he was doing. He had no idea what this program is, heading towards. He had no idea what kind of business model this can run upon. But you start a little bit, and during the trial and error, you have new ideas. And you try the new ideas, you make some mistakes, and you have new ideas. And it's a process, right? Engineers know this. This is the engineering cycle. You have a prototype, you test it, you find problems, you revise the prototype, you test it again, and you find new problems. But in the process, you are making progress. Things are becoming better. So stumbling forward is better than staying still. Don't just stay in your dorm doing nothing out of fear for failure. Rather, fail. Happily fail. And when you fail, you will learn something new. And next time, you will feel less miserably. Or perhaps even, you will succeed one day. So progressing clumsily is better than not trying at all. Imagine when I was in university and I said, oh, what a loser I am. I'm from a Muslim family who failed me. I don't know anything about Islam. I don't even know how to say the Shahada. I have no Arabic at all, and I give up. Might as well just leave this religion alone, because look at all of these people. I have these Huffaz who are leading Taraweeh in university. I have these people wearing Sharwa Khamis so proudly, big beard in the university, giving da'wah. Who am I? What am I? Imagine I just give up and I say, you know what? It's a done deal. Khalas, I'm over. I'm finished. But I didn't say that. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I understood it's better late than never. And it's better done than perfect. Start somewhere, do something. And if you're sincere enough, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you barakah, blessing, which is this heightened efficiency. You might be able to arrive at your destination much faster than you assumed. So these are the 7 points that I wish to share with university students and prospective university students to remember. I'll repeat them again. Number 1, you can do a lot in your spare time. Use your time properly. Number 2, focus on meaningful experiences. Number 3, embrace the possibility of rejection. Number 4, life is not one race. Choose your track. Number 5, you don't necessarily have to feel good, but you should always focus on doing good. Number 6, protect your fortress. Utilize all the equipment that Islam has given you to protect yourself. And number 7, live in this imperfect world imperfectly. Accept imperfection, but always make progress, and always head towards the right direction. And inshallah ta'ala, if you do these things, your university life will be easier and hopefully more constructive. And anything that has been said which is correct and beneficial is from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that is mistaken is from my shortcomings and my mistakes. May Allah forgive me and ask you for your tolerance as well. Jazakumullahu khairan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put barakah in all your university life and to help you have a fruitful and constructive university life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us beneficial knowledge and to make the knowledge that we have benefit us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always keep our hearts firm upon this religion, to make us people who will serve His deen and have success in the hereafter. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.